joining us live from Tel Aviv. Thank you so much, Dan, for joining us here today on NewsX World. It's always a pleasure to have you on. How should we interpret the contrasting narratives between Donald Trump and Ismail Begay? Is this a breakdown in communication or a strategic messaging battle?
I think more the latter. Both Trump and the Iranian regime are not committed to the truth at the best of times. This is the worst of times in the middle of a war and a negotiation. And of course, they're going to lie. It's as simple as that. So I tend to ignore more or less what's said in public and look at what's done in public. And what's being done is that it looks like Iran, well, we'll see if they fall through, but if they really do resume their own blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, then the reason is clear. They would prefer to negotiate not under such pressure, with their economy being battered by the inability to export anything, really. So I think it probably would be wise of the Americans to not agree and to let the Strait be blockaded by everyone in every direction, because that puts pressure on Iran. And clearly there is a need to put pressure on Iran because the devastation they have suffered during the war itself has not been sufficient to bring them to heel. And I simply cannot see how the Americans end this without the Iranians succumbing to the demands, certainly on the nuclear material and in general on enrichment, and obviously on ending the insanity with the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. And I would like to see them press further for an end to the funding of the militias, for an end to ballistic missiles, and even democratic reforms. One of the issues, beyond who's lying in what way in public, is who's in charge. We really don't know. And in Iran, it sort of looks like there is more than one power center and probably a lot of internal disagreements over what to do. Masoud Pezeshkian, the president, has been sidelined totally, as far as I can tell. Arakchi appears but doesn't seem to have that much power, the foreign minister. And of course, Kalibaf, who effectively is the head of the IRGC, seems to be calling the shots. Meanwhile, Mujtaba Khamenei, the supposed new supreme leader, has never been seen, is rumored to be very badly wounded or dead, and the whole thing may be a facade. So we have a very complex situation where it's possible that chaos in Iran if it looms, and may already be the case.
What does the movement of sanctioned vessels through the Strait of Hormuz suggest about enforcement gaps or shifting geopolitical alignments?
It's clearly very difficult to ensure not just that everyone allows traffic to go through, but also that there's no fear of mines that might have been laid or Iranian mosquito boats that could go rogue. When you have a chaotic situation, as I described before, where you don't know who's in charge in Iran, it could be that one person tells you it's fine and the other person sends the boats to attack ships. And the fact that Iran has flip-flopped in the last 24, 48 hours on whether it agrees to reopen the strait may reflect that it's different people saying different things. That's the main problem here. As for who they negotiate with, I mean, most negotiations don't require the president or head of state or government to do the actual negotiations, but clearly Trump is going to have to sign. And I think the Americans both have red lines that are immovable. I mentioned them before, but also some degree of flexibility on other issues like unfreezing assets and so forth. But the Americans, the current situation is one of brinksmanship, as Keith was saying. There's simply no avoiding the fact that for the foreseeable days and weeks, there's going to be instability in the strait until this is resolved. And from the American perspective, better that a total blockade, even if everyone's inconvenienced, happen now, because that might shorten the overall period during which we have this trouble. As for whether it's reversible or not, I'm more bullish on that. Nothing in life is irreversible. People have short memories. It's very clear that the precedent that you can blockade these maritime waters is a bad one. But we do have the law of the sea. The whole thing is basically illegal, and it shall remain illegal, perhaps in the future.